Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi, and what could be a fairly busy day here in Denver and along the Front Range and for much of the state of Colorado, where we've got a lot of heavy rain that's starting to move its way into the foothills to the west, and also starting to see a few showers and storms pop on up to the south of town along the Palmer Divide, specifically on up by Conifer. So far, so good here in Denver proper, but you look off to the west and ooh, ominous to say the least, with those dark clouds starting to fill on into the west and those producing some pretty heavy rainfall on up into the foothills, specifically from Conifer and maybe a little bit further north up into the Idaho Springs area. Broad view statewide, you can see that lightning just really jumping west and south of Denver. Again, along and east of I-25, we're mainly okay, but it's the west of town where we're really starting to see some of those showers and storms fill on in. Closer look in here at the metro area. I'll turn on the lightning here in just a second, but today's emphasis, it's going to be the flash flood risk. Today's real concern, again, it's the amount of water we could see in a short period of time, similar to the I-70 City Park flooding that we had 8 days ago last Sunday. Maybe not quite as high of a risk as what we had last Sunday, but still a fairly substantial one. And we do have some slow-moving showers and storms just sitting over Conifer, Bailey, along 285 there, south and west of Denver, and those showers and storms slowly expanding. And notice how they're a little bit stronger as you head south of I-70. That's where we've been a bit sunnier throughout the day. There's a bit more energy south of I-70, and as a result, that's going to be the main focal point for that threat for flash flooding later on this afternoon. Although along and north of I-70, there is also a flood threat today as well. Now, close look in terms of how much rain we've seen so far. Notice those little blue spots there into northern parts of Clear Creek as well as in the Gilpin counties. That's where in some cases we've already seen a half-inch worth of rainfall so far, and that, folks, just the tip of the iceberg. So as we head over the next couple of hours, I think here in Denver and throughout most of the metro area, we're just chatting about this with Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin, who will be in at 4 and 5 here on 9 News. It looks like the main time window would be between about 3 and 6 o'clock for any showers and thunderstorms. Obviously, you don't need me to tell you this, that coincides with the evening rush. So if you've got the flexibility or the ability to work from home, and you're maybe in the office right now, now is probably the time to head home. And again, maybe you got something like a movable appointment or a social plan, you got a happy hour, make it tomorrow, make it the rest of the week. The rest of the week, I think we're not going to be talking about nearly as substantial of a flood threat as what we're looking at today. So again, if you have something movable between about 3 and 6, I would go ahead and do that, just because, again, we're looking at that pretty elevated flood risk as we head over the next couple of hours. By 6:30, notice the core of those showers and storms pushing a little bit further east. So Fort Morgan, Lyman on east, and the immediate metro area, we're still dealing with rain, quite a bit of it in some cases, but the flood threat should start to ease up once we get to about 6:30, 7 o'clock tonight. And then by tonight here, folks, this is what I would call the good rain. This is just kind of plain old light to moderate rainfall that your garden loves, that everybody loves, drought busting kind of rainfall without the headaches of the flooding. Once we get to about 9, 10 o'clock tonight, that's what we're looking at, as opposed to the next few hours where we could be dealing with maybe 2 inches worth of rainfall in less than an hour in a few cases. Closer look in here at the metro area. So right now, those showers and storms, as I was just showing you, mainly confined to the foothills, but in the next hour or so, they'll start to drop down into the I-25 urban corridor. So Boulder, Arvada, as usual, the west side of the metro, we'll see those showers and storms first. So again, Morrison, Evergreen, Arvada, Boulder, you'll see those showers and storms first. And then I-25 on east will get in on the action as well, somewhere around 3 to 4 o'clock. And the heaviest, notice as you head a bit further south, south of C-470, south of I-70, we see some of those reds and oranges pop on up, indicating that potential for really serious rainfall. It's those reds and those oranges where we're especially concerned about that risk for flash flooding and some of those really elevated totals. The potential, again, there for 2 inches of rain in less than an hour, similar to what we saw in I-70 and City Park just 8 days ago. So again, higher risk will be as you head just a bit further south, south of 285, south of C-470, Highlands Ranch, on east into Centennial and Lone Tree, Aurora, especially the south side of Aurora, even South Denver and the DTC could get in on some of this. And then by about 5, 6 o'clock, It's not the ideal radar picture here, folks. That wouldn't be the perfect setup, as we'd be talking about some very heavy rainfall on the south side of the metro area, and that would, at the very least, lead to some pretty significant disruptions to the PM commute. In some cases, the possibility for way too much water in too short of a time span. By about 7, 8 o'clock tonight, that's when we start transitioning to that good old rain, the rain that we want, the rain that we need, and not the headaches of the flash flooding. And then that rain continues through most of the night. So, by the way, great sleeping weather tonight. As, you'll probably have a few of those pitter-patters on the rooftop, and as you fall asleep tonight, and the flood threat should be mostly over and done with by about 10 o'clock or so tonight. Now, in terms of the amount of rainfall, don't use this exact map as an exact parameter. Don't look at your exact hometown and say, oh, that's exactly how much rain I'm going to get tonight. Use this as a bit of an idea about what we could expect as we head over the next few hours. So notice, for example, that Bennett, our forecast model here, is picking up on the potential for over 2 inches worth of rainfall. Most of us will not see 2 inches worth of rainfall. Most of us won't even see an inch of rain. What I'm trying to emphasize here is that there's going to be a few pockets, maybe 5, maybe 10% of the metro area, that ends up with these pockets of 2 inches plus worth of rainfall, and most of that will come in less than 1 hour. So again, that's the threat, that's the concern, is we get all this rainfall in a very short period of time, and that could lead to flash flooding, as we've been emphasizing. So those alerts for your day today: the Front Range, the mountains, foothills, the Palmer Divide, and of course the burn scars, all dealing with that flash flood threat as well. I know I've been focusing on the metro area for the last little while. Colorado Springs under a flash flood watch. Notably, Denver is not within the flash flood watch. The flash flood watch is to our west and to our south, but there is still a risk for flash flooding here in the immediate metro area as well as we head over the next couple of hours. So flood risk until about 8 p.m. tonight. The highest risk will be south of I-70. And once again, want to kind of reemphasize that, yes, the flood risk will be now till about 8 o'clock in most cases. In most cases, I think the real significant flash flood threat should be over and done with by about 6, maybe 7 o'clock tonight. The foothills, the burn scars, it'll certainly be a bit longer than that. Highest risk will be south of I-70 and is much calmer tomorrow. So there's a little bit of good news as well. As once we get past today, the rest of the week, again, if you're planning on making some of those adjustments to your schedule, if you want to reschedule, basically every day the rest of the week looks okay. So once we get past today, we're okay for Tuesday, for Wednesday, for Thursday, for Friday. And you can see it here on the burn area flash flood threat, where today there's a very high risk, elevated risk for much, I would say, in fact, all the burn scars. And then Tuesday on, the rest of the week, it should be all right. Now, this is something I'm also closely monitoring. The warmer it is, the more energy, the more food essentially you've got for those showers and storms to develop and fuel up. In Denver, we've actually overperformed our temperature today by about a degree or two. We had a forecast high of 83. We're about 84. We've been at 84, 85 for most of the day. Dew points, the higher this number is, the more moisture you have to work with. So notice in Sidney, Nebraska, eastern Colorado, got a bit more moisture than the immediate metro area, so maybe a bit more juice to work with just to the east of Denver. But in town, 55-degree dew point, that's a fairly juicy number for us as well, and that tells us that there's enough moisture to support this flash flood threat that we've got for your day and perhaps your night as well tonight. But again, as I mentioned, I feel like focusing a lot on the bad news side and the potential for that flash flooding. Yes, that's there, but also this is some good news. Once we get past today, it's a bit more of a normal threat for showers and storms. It's your daily mom and pop garden variety showers and storms. Today's the one day that we're dealing with this really kind of elevated risk for flash flooding. So once we get past today, things really do calm down for the rest of the week. But again, a couple notes I want to leave you with. The flash flood threat will be highest between about now at about 6:30 tonight in the immediate metro area. It'll last a little longer in the foothills. The highest concerns will be south of I-70, and that's where we could be talking about, in some cases, 2 inches worth of rainfall in less than an hour. That's a ton of water. That is more than enough to potentially lead to flash flooding and those serious concerns that can come from that. And final note I'll leave you with as well is if you do come up to a water-covered roadway, so if you can't see to the bottom of the road, let's say it's about a foot of water or so, that's enough to potentially pick up your car. So if you can see to the bottom of the road, you could probably drive through it, you're probably okay. But always better to be safe than sorry, but as always, turn around, don't drown. If you come up to those water-covered roadways, you can't see to the bottom of the roadway, that's enough water to pick up your vehicle and potentially lead to not only destruction, but perhaps threaten your life as well. So again, please stay safe here, folks, as we will be talking about, in some cases, a lot of water in a very short period of time. So hopefully this answers a lot of your questions about today's flash flood threat. Again, once we get past today, the rest of the week looking a lot cooler and a lot nicer. So hopefully that is giving you a good idea about what to expect. If not, Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin's in at 4 and 5 today, and Meteorologist Lauren Robinson will have updates at 6, 9, and 10 tonight on the 9 News family of networks as well. Once again, I'm Meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus, and stay safe and have a great rest of your Monday.